Let's freaking go. Huh? 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 Enjoying a glorious day as another LSU football fan. Also, as a fan of the Southeastern Conference, it's obviously a kind of weird time as we get ready for spring football. Now, I know some of you are big LSU baseball fans. I know some of you are also huge LSU basketball fans. The women's team is looking great. But of course, on this channel, we're LSU football all the time. And basically, the poll question is simple to start off today's video. Today's live stream is who is LSU's best linebacker of all time? And obviously, the poll question is pretty simple. Do you think Damon Clark is in the top 3? Now, on top of that, there is a shirt update. A lot of your shirts went out today, so that's obviously really exciting. There was a printing issue and then supply chain issue. Then I had to order more 3X shirts. So if you are one of those people that wanted a 3X shirt, just let me know. So yeah, I'm really excited about all the t-shirts and inventory and all the stuff that you can get to support PHL. But obviously, this is the huge announcement to start off tonight's live stream is this man right here will be joining us Thursday night. None other than Justin Vincent, not with the Tiger Athletic Foundation, but as many of you know, he is one of the best clutches LSU running backs of the modern era. Now, of course, the end of his career wasn't as productive as the beginning of his career, but he was still one of the clutchest LSU running backs of all time. So Justin Vincent, thanks to our buddy Mark, he just tweeted him. He said, Justin, we want you to come on PHL. And guess what happened? Justin Vincent hit me up pretty quickly and said, look, I want to be on the absolute coolest LSU football only YouTube channel on the planet. So y'all go show some love to Justin Vincent on Twitter. Let him know that you're excited about his Thursday night appearance. And then at the end of the live stream, I will hook you up with a link so you can go on ahead and reserve your slot as Justin Vincent and I are going to talk about everything, what he's doing with LSU football now, what he thinks LSU football needs to work on, and then obviously doing what he did in our first national championship victory. So Big Al, what's good? Devin, RD. So it is not actually a new camera. I've actually had this camera for a while. Let me know, guys, if it looks good. Let me know if it sounds good. Are my words matching my voice? I actually had this fancy camera and I connected it to my laptop and it's working now. I had some issues with it earlier today. It's kind of weird. I know it looks a little bit different. I know a lot of you are probably like freaked out. You're like, God, Carter really is ugly. That's the downside if you don't look beautiful, right? I am not handsome on camera. That's why I started my career in radio. So there you have it. So obviously, the big story as far as like current video, as in current LSU news, the biggest story right now, of course, is the press conference, because we did a video on this yesterday. Some LSU fans and more notably some LSU media members were disappointed that Brian Kelly is yet to do a press conference since the opening day press conference. And the point of yesterday's video was pretty simple. Brian Kelly's got a lot going on right now. And the reason why it is so important to be patient is Brian Kelly, it took him forever to actually get his offensive and defensive coordinator jobs finalized. It took him forever to get all 40 of his LSU on-field and off-field staffers together. Those things take a lot of time. He is moving his family to another area of the country. And while you're doing that, you're having to piece together a recruiting class. So, as many of you know, I am not one to just defend the brand and just defend whoever else, but there is a reason why there has not been a press conference. It's because Brian Kelly's been pretty busy. And I know all head coaches are busy, but it's different when you are just now taking over a program and moving in an entirely different culture, finding all these new recruiting staffers that he's had to find. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So, what's very important to note is there's not one press conference, there's two. So there's going to be one where the defensive staff is going to be introduced, and there's also going to be one where the offensive staff is going to be introduced. So it is very important to make sure that you know that, because I know some of you are going to be like, wait, hold on, what about the other coaches? So on Wednesday and Thursday, defensive staff will go Wednesday with the special team staff, and then the offensive staff will go on Thursday. So, you get 2 days in a row of press conferences. So this is a man who helped set up the Justin Vincent interview. He is also one of the many of you, including Tracy and Tommy, who had their shirts shipped out today. So they are well on their way. Hitstick, good to see you. He has a Harold Perkins question, and it does go along with our topic of the day. Where do you think Harold Perkins will rank amongst LSU linebackers when it's all said and done? I think the bigger question, Hitstick, is will Harold Perkins even be a linebacker? Is he going to be more of a Arden Key edge, Calais Von Chason type of player? Is he going to be more of a hybrid safety? We don't know. Could he even play running back? I had Harold Perkins as my number one player in 2022 over anyone. Travis Hunter, Walter Nolan, Walker Howard, Cade Klubnik, who I like a lot. I still don't know what position he's going to play. That's kind of the scary thing. He was just the best football player, the best prospect. We don't know. It's going to come down to what they think of Harold Perkins. But I do want to share one little nugget, and I'm so glad, Hitstick, you're back, because you do provide such great insight with your comments. Harold Perkins did tweet something out very interesting. Okay. And I was really blown away by this. Okay. So Antonio Cromartie, who is a staffer with Texas A&M, tweeted out that starters should never complain about playing special teams. And Harold Perkins tweeted that out. Now, I understand you can't take too much away from what any 17, 18, or 19-year-old tweets out. They retweet everything. However, that was a very specific retweet. It wasn't like a vague quote or anything like that. It was a very specific thing where it said, if you are on the team and you're a starter, your butt better also be able to play special teams. And that's key, because Harold Perkins was a very potent special teamer during his high school career. Not so much as a return guy, but there was a play last year. And if you go watch our Harold Perkins film study, you'll see this. He actually stripped the holder of the kick and returned it for a touchdown. So, I think that is very promising, especially year one, where they're trying to figure out what the best spot for him will be. The best thing for him early on is kind of like the same thing with Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu. Start their careers off making plays on special teams. And if there is one thing Harold Perkins does better than anyone else in this class, and maybe better than anyone else on the team this year, it's just running down and making plays, just being a freak of nature. And, that would be huge for him in year one. I'm really glad you brought that up. Aaron, let's go. Aaron, let's go. Y'all show Aaron some love. Let's go. I love the positive energy Aaron always brings in here. Feels so great. Frodo's working with the private trainer right now. I love the random Xavier Carter jersey here. That is a deep PHL cut right there. LJ says this camera is much faster. Jared says is no, Jared, I think it's what you had for dinner. I think it's playing tricks on your mind right now. Um, any idea what time the press conferences are? Joanna, I honestly don't know. I would guess they would be around noon-ish. That's when they normally have press conferences. I honestly never looked at the time myself. Let me see. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe someone can enlighten me. I never actually looked up the time because I'm actually, and I wanted to share this. This is very important information. I'm going to one of my favorite cities this weekend. I'm going to Baton Rouge this weekend. So if you are in Baton Rouge this weekend, please hit me up. I could even bring you your shirt if you wanted a PHL shirt. Um, on top of that, I'm going to Shreveport, Louisiana tomorrow. So if you are in Shreveport, let me know. I can bring you a shirt. I'd love to meet you. I don't get to go to Shreveport as much as I used to, but I know we have a lot of viewers there. JJ, our president of the Shreveport chapter, he's not in here. Creek Dweller is also a Shreveport guy. It was Big Al who motivated me to use the new camera. It's kind of different though because I'm used to the camera being right here. Instead, it's like set up right there. It is kind of cool though. It can like focus just like that. By the way, the next person that joins the T-shirt club, boom, that bad boy is yours. You know you want it. Jay Russ, who is going to join the T-shirt club tonight, or a sizable donation, you get that Jay Russell card in the mail. You can also get some stickers. I had to order a bunch of new stickers. We have sold out. We actually have like 7 more. Those actually sold out pretty fast. So I ordered more stickers. I think I have 10 more, unless I can. I don't even remember. Brett, you want to go get BBQ? Just hit me up, man. We'll see. I don't know exactly what's all on the schedule. I'm going down there for something with my mother. So yeah, hit the like button. That's obviously it's focused on me and not the background. I know a lot of you are like tripping out. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know Carter was this ugly. Tracy, your shirts are in the mail, and I'm not gonna say what I did to y'all's order, but there's some bonuses just for you guys for supporting me for so long. Yeah, that's what it is. It's focused on you and not the background. Once again, hit the like button. It goes a long way. Now, as far as the press conferences are concerned, tomorrow, what's very interesting is you're going to get all these new coaches. And I do think that is part of the reason why the press conferences were so held up, because you're going to get a lot of interviews tomorrow. You're going to get a lot of content delivered to you tomorrow. Now, because I'm traveling tomorrow, I don't know what all I'm going to be able to do as far as that is concerned. I might just do a live stream from Shreveport just randomly. We'll see. But this is my major takeaway from tomorrow. Okay. I hope the media that's able to attend the press conference tomorrow understands that this is going to be the only time you're going to get to interview assistant coaches. Now it might be different. LSU might do something different with their media policy next year, where coordinators and assistant coaches are made available to the media. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But what's really fascinating about that, though, is you need to take advantage of this, right? I also think a lot of the new coaches don't know a whole lot about what they're going to do because they haven't really been able to meet with the team. They haven't really been able to get out on a practice field with the guys. Once again, only the strength and conditioning coach, Jacob Flynn, has really been around them a lot. And that is pretty normal for most college football programs. So it's going to be very interesting. Also, I do agree with this as well, KMC, because there was a lot of complaining about the press conferences. I hope some actual good questions are asked because I did share this a few times throughout last year. I felt as if Ed Orgeron could have been pressed harder on some pretty blatantly obvious things. Something that we brought up a bunch on this channel is why are we running the same defensive play every single time? So once again, tomorrow you're going to get the defensive coaches and the special team coaches, and on Thursday you're going to get the offensive coaches. Jared says, couple or two or three more beers, and you in the background will both be out of focus. That is true, but that would be the case on just the normal camera. So I don't know if I'm going to keep using this thing. It's still kind of freaky to me because I don't like looking at myself because, as men, our skin is not as flawless as some of the lovely ladies out there, right? So, and other men, quite frankly, because my skin is not flawless. I have a monobrow. I don't have pretty teeth. I shave, but I immediately have a stubble anyway. I'm chubby James Blake and Bruno Mars put together. So that is me. Now, here's something else I want to bring up. As far as the next few days are concerned, obviously, the next day you're going to have the offensive press conference. And then on Thursday night, we will be live. Once again, if you're just joining us, Thursday night, Justin Vincent will be on the live stream. Okay. Don't miss it. It's going to be pretty epic. You saw how great it was with Jeremy Hill. And I want you guys to know on this channel, we're only interviewing LSU running backs. That is the only position that we're going to interview on this channel. So next, it's going to be Charles Alexander. I'm just kidding. But Charles Alexander would be pretty awesome. And I've interviewed him before. And I've had his hot sauce. His hot sauce is not bad at all. LJ says, my skin is flawless, smooth, like a baby's bottom. That phrase has always just kind of been like, I know it's an idiom, but if you're younger and you don't if you've never heard that cliche, you'd be like, tell me more, LJ. What is this you are actually talking about? Paris. Once again, everyone blame Big Al for me having the nicer camera. It is on him. RD, I'm going to come see you pretty soon, and I'm actually going to hand deliver your shirt. You can use some middle ground to be able to show off your stash in the back. Yeah, it's true. Actually, if I just got out of the way, you could be able to see all of it. It'll focus on that. Let's see. Or at least I thought it would. It stayed focused on me, even without me me being in the shot. Also, LJ's been on me about this. LJ, I don't know why. Oh yeah, I was putting this new Burrow card in there. We are working on our September 3rd get together in New Orleans. So go on ahead and make sure you have it on the calendar. I just want to know who is actually, once again, we got to thank Mark. Honestly, all Mark did was he went on Twitter and said, Justin Vincent, we need you on PHL. And he immediately DM'd me. And for those that don't know, Justin Vincent works with the Tiger Athletic Foundation. And I just got to say, if you work in fundraising, your butt is always on a plane. Your butt is always on a call. It's a 24/7 job. So we've been working nonstop, and my fingers crossed that everything's going to work itself out. And ironically, Justin Vincent's Sports Illustrated cover is right next to this Kev Falk one. So thank you, Mark. Yeah, there's some diehard Charles Alexander fans out there. I know some of you. I know some people actually cried when he got into the College Football Hall of Fame. And Charles Alexander, in the interview I did with him, he said, "I'm not even a top 5 LSU running back of all time." Now he is a very humble guy, but you know what? I actually agree with them, especially if you include like the modern era guys. But I mean, he was such a beast. I mean, he really was. Like, um, man, he was just so good. And then his career with the Bengals, 8 years all with the Bengals. It's crazy, LSU's history with the Bengals. LJ says he's already got his trip booked. I'm still working on the venue and what exactly we're going to do, but I want to make it epic. Okay. Tommy's birthday today. Tommy's not even in here. Tracy's just in here on her own. Tracy and Tommy. Kyle, I will not be there. However, I will be in Baton Rouge this weekend. Does LSU baseball play this weekend? I don't know. I kind of want to go to a game. I haven't been to Alec Box in a while. I don't know any of the players on the team. I know Dugas, Money, Trey Morgan, Hill, and that's it. Is Hill still on the team? I don't know. I like quit following LSU baseball every day after the last national championship. So I was like in on a high note and just focus on football. Sean Ochinko. Who remembers Sean Ochinko? When Sean Ochinko is what, he was like the 8th or 9th best player on that team, you were a loaded squad. Simply marvelous. Thank you, LJ, for the very generous super chat. Our first super chat of the night is a Venmo, the best kind of super chats. Let's go. That Millie looks kind of cool with that DSLR, baby. Yeah, Charles Alexander's a beast, though. Absolutely. Ocho Cinco. Shout out to Ocho Cinco. I would love to play him in FIFA. That's kind of crazy, Brett. I didn't know Baton Rouge was a barbecue city now. Really? Barbecue? That's what we're going to do? We're not going to go. Well, I can't go to Phil's without Haley. Haley gets mad if I go to Phil's without Haley. We're not even going to go to Zippy's? Really? I don't mind going to get some coffee called beignets, but barbecue? How many people have ever heard this in their life? I'm going to Baton Rouge to get some barbecue. It might be. I don't remember the last time I've had barbecue in Baton Rouge, and I used to live there. Does BR have barbecue? Anyway, something else that's going to happen over the next few days is, the media is going to ask, and once again, the Baton Rouge media is fine, but I do think a lot of you are going to get frustrated that if LSU is asked about the coaches, or if thank you, Johnny. Thank you for the generous super chat. And Johnny is a new member of the T-shirt club. Good stuff, Johnny. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So one thing, and I'm going to go ahead and defend the coaches on this. They're going to get asked a lot of questions about the roster next season, okay? The bottom line is they're not going to know anything about the roster. Like, obviously, Brian Kelly knows Miles Brennan. But outside of that, how much does he actually know these guys? Even more so, do the assistants even know these guys? No, they don't. They've yet to see them put a pad on yet. So I do think it is very important. If the coaches don't know anything about the current players, there's a reason, because they actually don't. And I know that sounds bad, And you could say, whoa, they could go watch film and have an idea of what they're walking into. Not really. I mean, you can watch and see, like, obviously Jack Besh is good. Obviously Kayshawn's good. Obviously Micah Baskerville's a solid player. But it's going to be a brand new scheme, a brand new system, a brand new quarterback. You really don't know anything. You just don't. Like, you have an idea, but you really don't. What's up, Todd? Good to see you. Sean played all 9 positions in one game. That's pretty good stuff. Huh? If you could ask, yeah, I think I remember this stat. I think I do. If you could ask Brian Kelly a question, what would you ask? There'd be a few. The first thing I would ask is, well, actually, I wouldn't ask this one. I would wait closer to the season because this isn't a time pertinent question. My first question would be, what is your methodology behind your 4th down decision making? And what's very interesting is Brian Kelly has a semi-aggressive history on 4th down. The good thing is he's not really been in those critical situations where you have to make a tough 4th down call. There's been times he's been aggressive and there's times that he hasn't. That to me is the most underrated question that you can ask every coach in the SEC, right? Ed Orgeron was very conservative. Sam Pittman is very conservative. Lane Kiffin is too aggressive. The perfect balance, actually, the best coach last year on 4th down was Dave Aranda. When it comes to being very aggressive, but not stupid aggressive like Lane was at times last year. So that's what that would be my first question, because that is a question I would ask every coach. The second question I would ask, and this one would be a little bit different, and I would direct it more towards Mike Denbrock, is how is the play calling responsibility actually going to work? Is it going to be Denbrock calling the plays? Is it going to be Brian Kelly calling the plays? Also, and I think this is really going to be a thing next year, I think Cortez Hankton could end up being a lot more involved in the play calling responsibility. Remember, yes, he did get a pay increase and he did get the opportunity to move home, but he also just got interviewed by an NFL job for play calling responsibilities for something he's never done. He's never called plays before. Don't you think there's a piece of him that said and agreed when he did the job that he can have more say so in what the offensive calls actually are? I don't know how much he had at Georgia, but I do think Cortez is going to have a little bit more say in the play calling. That's just, me just thinking out loud. But if I were him and I were looking to one day be a head coach, if that is in his dreams and aspirations, I wouldn't take another position coach job at a different university if I didn't have more say so in the actual play calling, because that's how it works more often than not. Now, when you become a coach, teams want to know if you've called plays before. Now, of course, there's plenty of coaches who don't call plays and are really good head coaches. Ed Orgeron, obviously, in the early LSU tenure, Sam Pittman. But I do think we could see Hankton having more pull when it comes to the actual play calling responsibility. Let's go to Max's super chat. Obviously, Max is one of the most generous supporters of PHL. He is the president of the New York chapter. Spring practice, media day, SEC media days means crap. All that matters is fall practice and the moment BK actually coaches a game. So this is obviously a really good super chat, and this is also part of what I wanted to get into today. How much does spring practice actually matter to you? I did a blog. If you want to subscribe to my Substack, I'm going to be posting to this more often. It's just a good way for me to connect with you guys even more. I'm not a writer. I am not Sarah Ganem. I am not a superstar LSU writer. Okay. Sarah Ganem obviously covered Penn State, but Leah Van, Scott Rabelais, I'm not a superstar writer. Okay. But I have written for Bleacher Report, ESPN True Hoop, and a few other places. And writing, I grew up loving writing. So I'm going to write some small blogs on here. And yeah. And so my last blog on the Substack was actually this topic right here from Max. Okay. Um, does all this matter? Does spring practice matter? Does it mean anything to you? Okay. Let's just take last year's team, for instance, right? Who are some of the absolute best players on last year's team? Well, a lot of them were guys that did practice in the spring and put in a lot of work in the spring, right? Andre Anthony, Neil Farrell, Damon Clark were three of the hardest workers in spring football. But you also had Micah Baskerville, who skipped spring altogether. And you had some really good first timers that didn't play at all during the spring either. And were really good football players. And then on the offense side of the ball, Jack Bash, BTJ were obviously two big pieces to what we did last year. I do think spring football is important, but I do feel, and I know this sucks for someone who does college football stuff 365. I do feel a lot of the stuff that happens during this period is overblown. Now, if you have a scandal or a situation like what Auburn had, that obviously is a big deal. But, everything right now, knock on wood for LSU, is pretty smooth sailing. There are no controversies outside of people getting mad that Brian Kelly likes to dance badly. But still, there's really no controversy right now. LSU had a decent recruiting class. LSU had an unbelievable time in the transfer portal, and now they have a top 15 college football class when you cram those things together. So yeah, the offseason has been pretty good, all things considered. SEC Media Days obviously isn't that big of a deal, and just media days in general. And here's what's really fascinating. You guys know Blake at Are You Serious is one of my best friends, and I go on there pretty often now. And Blake asked me this question. He said, Carter, what is the one thing that you're looking forward to the most about Brian Kelly this spring? And my answer was actually the point that Max is making now. The biggest impact that Brian Kelly is going to make is that LSU now has someone who has a really good reputation between the headsets, whereas Les Miles definitely didn't have that, and Ed Orgeron also didn't have that. How is this program that won so many games in spite of not having someone elite between the headset? How are they going to look with someone who has a really good reputation between the headsets? Someone who has won a lot of games at universities where it can be very difficult to win games. How's he going to look now with the program that gives you the biggest talent advantage just organically in all of college football? How is that going to look? And that's going to be the big question. Obviously, you would think rationally, okay, all-time winningest coach takes over the program that has the third most players drafted since 2000, that has won a lot of games. A lot of us think he's going to be a home run. Appreciate it, James. Thank you so much. And thank you to Mark with the super chat. Also got to shout out Mark as well, because he is also part of the PHL football card movement. There you go. Gotta love it. No, and that's fine. If you think Damon Clark really is the best linebacker at LSU ever, that's perfectly fine. I'm kind of shocked. I thought top 3 would win. I thought Damon Clark, just with basic recency bias, would definitely make top 3. But no. So we are 34 minutes into it. I'll give you obviously my top three. I am going to go Devin White number one. I'm going to go Brady James number two. And I'm just talking about the modern era. So no pre 2003 stuff. So just the championship era. I'm going to go those two. And the number three, I'm going to go Kelvin Shepard. Now, there's a lot of other guys you can go with right there. And once again, LSU isn't most known for the linebacker position, right? Well, we've had a lot of good ones, but I'm going to go Kelvin Shepard there at number three. I know that's a little controversial. I know some of you would say Derry Beckwith. Some of you will say, well, Carter, you know who slept on Perry Riley? No one ever talks about Perry Riley. And then also Patrick Queen would say, look, none of these guys were an MVP of a national championship game. So it's tough, but my top three would be that. Now, here's I would probably, if you want to throw Damon Clark in there, I would probably go Devin White one, Brady James two, Kelvin Shepard three, Damon Clark four, Patrick Queen five. But if you do want to wait, how do you play on the absolute biggest scale possible? Patrick Queen is number three behind Brady James. Okay. But Brady James and Devin White are my solid number one and number two. Some of that might be nostalgia, right? Some of you Dallas Cowboys fans, we do have a lot of Cowboys fans that watch this channel. It does make me a little uncomfortable, which is fine. But I do think Devin White is the clear-cut number one. And I think the gap between him and number two is bigger than any other LSU modern-day position outside of quarterback, if that makes sense. Memphis, welcome to the channel. Good to see the little man right here. Just met Miles Brennan and Mason Smith at the basketball game the other weekend against Mississippi State. You're a lucky person. I've not gotten a chance to meet either one of them. Hopefully I'll bump into Mason Smith so I can tell him how much I love seeing him in that number 0. Quan Alexander is overlooked. I can't believe I'm kind of sleeping on Quan a little bit. And I wrote probably 3 different articles when I was with Dig Magazine on the greatness of Quan Alexander. He's definitely the most versatile because, you would see him rush the passer sometime and see him play the mic, Sam and Will, and cover in space. So, yeah. Big Al, Michael Brooks. I actually have a lot of Michael Brooks cards. That was one of my dad's favorite players, Michael Brooks. But yeah, Quan Alexander over Patrick Queen, they were very similar players. Man, I don't know. Jacob Phillips was also really good too. But once again, these are just modern day, right? And then that next tier, would probably be Perry Riley, Derry Beckwith, and those guys, right? But Quan was a beast, right? If you want to talk about just overall versatility, yeah, you got to go, Quan Alexander. Who else is very underrated? And part of it was because he wasn't like the star of the 03 team. The star of the 03 team was Marcus Spears and Justin Vincent. And if you aren't just joining us, Justin Vincent will be on the channel on Thursday. But Lionel Turner was a really good player, right? Once again, when I put Lionel Turner in my top 3, no, but he is in discussion for top 5, right? But Lionel Turner, for some of you old schoolers, you remember how good he was. And he also had a really good game versus Oklahoma. But yeah, Derry Beckwith is obviously up there as well, right? He had a really good career for LSU. So you're going to go Quan over Patrick Queen. That's fine. Debo Jones is really good. They just didn't play him a lot early in his career. But then that next tier is I don't know. Derry Beckwith has a really strong case, but I still stand true. I still think Devin White and Brady James, modern era, so post 2000, I would still go Devin White, Brady James 1-2. What's going on, Caucus? Look at that, rocking the new PHL shirt. Yeah, so Mike remembers back in the day. I used to write about Quan Alexander all the time. But yeah, Brady James. I mean, Brady James was just so transcendent. Yeah. I mean, he was just so great. But then you go a little deeper, right? And there's two more names you got to think about. And part of the reason why you don't talk about these guys is the same thing with Lionel Turner, right? Devin White was a big star, but he also had a big personality, right? You would see him riding around in the horses and interviewing well. He was a team leader. He was very vocal. But two guys that have not been mentioned at all, Lamine Barrow, war number 18, really solid player, and someone who is still in the league. I want to see if someone can mention the guy who has not been named just yet. Okay. And ironically, Ali Highsmith, we haven't mentioned, and Kevin Minter. There you go. And Aaron is sitting here with Jacob Phillips. Three names. We talked about Jacob Phillips a minute ago, but Ali Highsmith and Kevin Minter, right? Ali Highsmith has an iconic play. He has the iconic play of the 07 game, which was the clothesline of Ohio State's quarterback, Krenzel. That was the highlight, right? There were bigger plays, Ricky Jean Francois with the block kick, but still, Ali Highsmith was great, and I could swear up and down that every single person that existed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, thought Ali Highsmith was going to be one of the better pros on that team. But Kevin Minter is still in the league. He's been at LSU for a while. Won a Super Bowl. Had a 20 tackle performance against Florida. Mingo was a defensive end, hand in the dirt. So I'm going with guys that never put their hands in the dirt. We're talking traditional linebackers. So guys like Arden Key and Caleb Von Chason, where we're not including in this conversation. But, you can make the case that Ali Highsmith had the most iconic linebacker play, which was the clothesline, right? It's still one of the it's one of the lasting memories in LSU football history. It's truly an incredible play. For those that didn't see it, there's so many photos of this play. It's just so freaking filthy what this guy did, man. Let me see. I'm gonna get a good photo of it. You just don't see a midair clothesline like this that often. I gotta put it up for you right now. Let's see here. Let's put it up. For the youngins, I could officially call myself old right now. So it was this play right here. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Like, I don't think I've ever seen for you real old schoolers, Dick Night Train Lane in the NFL was known for the clothesline. But this definitely would have been a flag. And is that Eddie George in the back right there? I don't think so. Still, you see Ricky Jean Francois right there. Let's see. I just get chills looking at this. And look at Ali Highsmith, the single digit, number 7, towel, ankle tape, live strong, yellow bands, the play sheet, those spats, baby. Ali Highsmith. Yeah, but Kevin Minter is slept on. I had a really valuable Kevin Minter card, and I gave it to Jeremy Hill because I know Jay Hill loved him as a teammate. But yeah, those spats are cold-blooded right there, boy. Look at that. That is just still one of the I called him Craig Krenzel. What was this quarterback's name? Bozeman? I forgot this quarterback's name. So there you go. Such an iconic moment. Dang, Damon Clark barely in the top 7? Interesting. This guy almost won the Butkus, right? He almost won the Butkus. Most of the names we mentioned, outside of Devin White, never got close to winning the Butkus. So, Damon Clark could easily come in here and say, look, not only am I the number 2 linebacker, I also proved a lot of you haters wrong, a lot of you skeptics wrong. And if we're being fair, okay, we talk about, what do you think, Blake? Let me know. If we're being fair here, okay, you guys, I bring this up all the time. There are very few people in sports that have true haters, true people that do not believe in you. Okay, Ed Orgeron had people that did not believe he was going to be great. He had real haters. He had real doubters. Okay, Damon Clark had severe doubters. I remember, you can go to my comment section during, this past offseason. There's people that were saying, we want Damon Clark to transfer. And he only had one of the most productive linebacker seasons in the history of the SEC this year. So, yeah, Damon had the biggest improvement of any LSU player from one season to the next. I can remember he trashed on last year. Look at the guy now. Max reads my mind. So, out of all the names that we mentioned, most of those guys were just kind of just great, right? They didn't have real skeptics. Damon Clark was just, And then, what the F? And now, he dominated the Senior Bowl. So now he's looking at making a real push for the first round. Of the current LSU linebackers in the NFL who has the best overall career, probably Debo of the current guys. It's also important to remember that linebackers don't play long. There's not many London Fletchers who play 12 years, all 16 games every year. I'd probably say Debo. He's probably the best active LSU linebacker. Devin White's probably close, even though he's still very early in his career. Patrick Queen is over Damon Clark. Hey, it just depends on how you weight that Clemson game, right? I'll say this, okay? And then we'll move on to a different topic. If you guys don't want to talk about this anymore, feel free to super chat. Once again, it's the offseason. I like to generate discussions. We'll do this for other positions. I'm going to save defensive back for the end because that always gets into a fist fight in the comment sections. But we don't want to get into defensive back tonight. Let's just focus on linebacker, okay? Now, this is very key, okay? I'll look at every one of you. If you wait a single game over an entire career, then Patrick Queen is definitely going to be in your top 3, right? Patrick Queen would have to be in your top 3 because the Clemson game, I don't know if we beat Clemson if he doesn't play. And I know that seems like a bold statement, but we don't. It's closer, right? So there was a play in the third quarter where Clemson called an absolutely perfect screen to Etienne, and there was a missed block on Patrick Queen, and he was able to dive underneath it and tackle Etienne for like a 5-yard gain or whatever. If he didn't make the tackle, Etienne would have had a 65-yard touchdown. And I know we use that phrase all the time, a touchdown-saving tackle. Etienne would have scored. They called a perfect screen. No one else was on that side of the field. And it wasn't T. Higgins, it was Justin Ross, their wide receiver. Uh, on that play, it was also made by Christian Fulton. He did a good job squeezing and keeping contained on the play. But still, if Patrick Queen, he's the best at reading a screen out of any LSU linebacker ever, right? And he's still really good at that at the NFL. It's part of the reason why he got drafted so high, his ability to read screens, amongst other things. But that's what he does best. If he doesn't make that tackle, we were only winning at the time, 28-25. Clemson takes the lead, and Clemson really took over the first part of that third quarter. So that, we don't talk about that play that often because obviously, Joe and Jamar were the story of that game. But, still, if Patrick Queen doesn't make that play, and the reason why you got to watch the all 22 copy to get it, because it looks just like a normal tackle. It's one of the best plays in LSU history. So, obviously the Ali Highsmith play, once again, I don't mind putting this up here on the screen forever, is a more iconic play. But Patrick Queen really saved that game for us, because that would have been a completely different fourth quarter. This is also a really good question for from Carvis. If Jacob Phillips and Patrick Queen come back for their senior seasons, does Jamon really see the field? And that's something else that's really crazy from Carvis here. If Patrick Queen doesn't have the game he had versus Clemson, I don't think he slides into the first round, which means he more than likely comes back, which in turn would have helped Jacob Phillips potentially to come back. But since Patrick Queen decided to go, and made that decision that much easier for Jacob Phillips to go. So that's a really good hypothetical right there. That's true, Nick. And this is, once again, Patrick Queen wasn't the most consistent linebacker, but he did have the biggest defensive play in the Alabama game as well. Now, it's not the most famous defensive play in Tuscaloosa. That would be Chad Jones, or infamously Patrick Peterson. But still, that was such a critical play. And then obviously we threw a touchdown to Clyde right before the half. It's really good stuff, Nick. I really do appreciate you. Good to see you again, Carvis. Missing you. I know you're busy with that PhD stuff. Now, are you serious? Oh, are you serious? Blake was fired up tonight? I got to go back and see. I got to go back and see a patented Blake rant. Okay. Blake has some skin in the game now for his linebacker rankings. A little bias here as far as Mike Jones. I hope you're right. We could really use him next year to hopefully be better than any of these guys. But yeah, shout out to Blake. Got the NIL deal with Mike Jones, who's probably the best interview on the team. It's really good stuff right there, man. I thought Jacob Phillips was good. Jacob Phillips was overrated. Jacob Phillips gives me Reuben Foster vibes. I thought Jacob Phillips was a good player. Now, is he on the level of all these other guys? Probably not, but I thought he was good. Oh, snap. Mo Claiborne had an interception in that game, but that wasn't even the best defensive play in that game. What's going in your mind right now, RD the Mayonnaise Kid? The best defensive play in that game belonged to Eric Reed, right? I was on the field for that play. I still don't believe Eric Reed got it, but he did. He did get it. That's still crazy. To midair rip the football out of Michael Williams, that was the tight end's name, to rip the football out of that young man's hand in midair was one of the craziest plays in LSU history. So we've made a lot of really big defensive plays in Tuscaloosa. My number one, I think it's Devin White. I don't think you could really. I think this is just one of those things where, you just can't argue against Devin White, right? And, some of that's off the field, taking over that after that bad Troy loss. He took over our team. He took over the locker room. And he arguably saved our program, right? We could have spiraled. I mean, there was a lot of angst in that locker room, right? Amongst the coaches, obviously the Matt Canada thing was rubbing people the wrong way, and just the team. We played so poorly against Troy. Then we go into halftime. Then we give out a touchdown on the first drive in the third quarter versus Troy. And it's like we lose that game, and then Devin White, as a true sophomore, just took over the locker room. Never looked back, and we beat Felipe Franks in Florida the next week, and Devin White was by far the best player on the field. So we're very fortunate to have him. He saved our team. Valente. Once again, if you guys want to move on to a different topic, I am more than happy to. Right now, we're just talking about the greatest LSU linebackers in history. In the modern era, once again, I focus mostly on modern era LSU. So, yeah, if once again, I'm still going to go Devin White. Maybe I'm overrating Brady James a little bit, though, for him to be the clear-cut number 2, but I'm going to keep him as a clear-cut number 2. And I'm going to stick with Kelvin Shepherd at number 3. You guys are talking me into Patrick Queen a little bit at number 3. Some of you are talking me into Quan Alexander at number 3. Man, that's tough. I would say those are probably my top 5. And then, you get Allie Highsmith, Derry Beckwith, Kevin Minter, Lamine Barrow. Perry Riley was a good player. I'm surprised none of you said DJ Welter. Huh? Kendall Beckwith is someone we don't respect enough for, fixing that what was a disastrous year at linebacker up to that point. He moved from defensive end to linebacker. He was a good player for us. Jacob Couturier was a solid player for LSU. I don't think he would be in my top 10. I don't know if Kendall Beckwith would be in my top 10 either. Just modern era linebackers, right? It's tough. It's a tough list to make. Any list when it comes to positions at LSU. And look, obviously this is a simplification of it, but there's a difference between linebackers, right? If you're the Sam, you're the Will, or you're the Mike. And, there's not as many linebackers on the field as there used to be, right? Back then you kind of had more, your number 3 linebacker is now the nickel is now a defensive back, right? But back then, on the 07 team, Luke Sanders was a really good football player for us. Number 35, he was just a solid role player. He did his job. He set the edge in the run game, or he helped set the edge in the run game. He was a really good player. Ready for some spring ball. Who can make the biggest leaps in development from this year to last? Can BK get a win over Bama in year 1? How about the trenches? Let's start with the middle question. Can BK get a win over Bama in year 1? I know we like to jump forward to the Alabama game, and, we still have battle scars, even though Joe helped cure some of those, and Patrick Queen and Jamar and everybody. Clyde, obviously. And Thad Moss's tiptoes. Still, there's a lot of players that have really good games. Still, can BK get a win over Bama in year 1? Probably not. Both teams will be coming off a bye week. I think the bigger question, if you want to talk about individual games, obviously the Alabama game is kind of a reset, right? You get the bye week, and then, our whole locker room is just focused on beating Bama. Obviously, we've played better in Tuscaloosa than we played in Tiger Stadium. Let's worry about getting through the first 8 weeks of the season. And I think one thing, and I'm glad you brought this up, 256 Moxley, and I know you want to focus just on the spring, but one of the difficult things about LSU's schedule is it does start so soft, but it just gets harder, right? The weakest SEC team next year is Auburn. That's going to be the first SEC team we play, I believe, off the top of my head. Look, I got the schedule right here. Auburn is the second SEC team we play. But right after that, you play Tennessee, at Florida, Ole Miss in a row. We always struggle week 8. That's always been a tough spot for us. Even the 2019 team played their worst game in week 8, and that's just because of, attrition sets in. Your bodies are wearing down. So, that's the bigger question mark. This is the second straight year we go Florida and Ole Miss back to back. So we'll see. Let's go to the trenches question. Obviously, really good question here from 256 Moxley. I think we have an idea of what the offensive tackle position is going to be, but obviously, to me, the biggest question 256 in the spring is who will the center be? And I know Danny's not in here. I actually sent her a message earlier to see if she was in here. She's not. Hope everything's okay there. She's obviously one of the most important commenters on this channel. She's been the one monitoring this for us, right? She looks at the transfer portal every day to see if there's any new centers popping up, because she obviously wasn't happy with the center play last year. So that's going to be the big question about the trenches. 256, I think we have a good idea of what the defensive line is going to look like. Obviously, Jamar Cain has a different look on what a defensive line is going to look like than what potentially Andre Carter does, but defensive line is one of those positions where the best guys are just going to play, and the best guys are pretty clearly Roy, Smith, and Ojulari. Now, who that fourth guy is going to be is going to depend on how you want to line them up. Do you want to be in a 3-man front? Do you want to be in a 4-man front? Do you want to be multiple? How do you view Ali Gay going into next season? How do you view some of these guys? And as far as spring football is concerned, who can make the biggest leap from year 1 to year 2? Remember, if there is something Ed Orgeron knows, it's offensive line play, right? Defensive line play, excuse me. Ed Orgeron would be able to tell us if someone he thought was one of the best defensive linemen he's ever seen is one of the best defensive linemen he's ever seen. And he said that about Bryce Langston, a guy who didn't really play that much last year despite the hype. Is he someone that takes a huge step? What about Savion Jones, a guy who did get quite a few snaps last year on defensive special teams? And then that list gets even murkier, right? You then get into a Xavier Carter. You then get into Philip Webb. You get into Jacoby and Guillory. There's a long list of people that, we hope to see step forward in the trenches next year for LSU. And then, I'm ready for spring ball as well, 256. Even though it doesn't really mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, I love it because it's just football and I'm a football addict. There's a long list of guys. Darius Jones. Max, where's Max? He super chatted a bunch tonight. He is the president of the Darius Jones fan club. That's going to be very key as well. So hopefully this answered your super chat. It's good to see you again, 256 Moxley. As American as it gets. The bald eagle. Uh-oh. First time with the DSLR camera. The Master Blaster. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. What's good, Tony? Huh? Bryce Langston is a sleeper for 256 Moxie. All right, type Y for yes, type N for no. Is Bryce Langston your biggest sleeper on the defensive line? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know. Type Y for yes, type N for no. And if you do type in for no, who is your biggest sleeper on the defensive line as we get ready for spring ball? And the Master Blaster. Tony. Savion Jones. I like it. What's up, Pegasus? Brandon, who you going with, my friend? I'm not saying who's the best. Wiggins. I don't sleep on no Tiger. Todd, let me know that there's some interesting fact about Sean Ochenko. I don't know. I do know Palminieri putting him in the 3-hole in the championship game is still one of the craziest moves I've ever seen, and it worked. I loved it. Pig Cage and Mason Smith. I have no news on the tight end. Good to see you again. Desmond Little and Jarrell Cherry are two very interesting defensive ends. Mason Smith getting some love. Or Darius Jones. Jared says, I don't sleep on any Tiger. He said he's waiting on his lovely wife, Nicole, to super chat and tell Nicole I give her my best. Obviously, she's one of my favorites. This is a good question here as far as Joe Evans is concerned. Could you move him back to the offensive line? Pegasus, this never made any sense to me. Why he even moved away from the offensive line, right? That seemed as if that was a pretty, easy thing to do is to keep him on the offensive line, knowing how deep we are on the defensive line. And especially if he could have played center. And I know there was rumors out there that that he could have played center, right? So yeah. Savion Jones, the sleeper. I like Savion a lot. Like, obviously, he plays with a lot of energy. I remember his high school tape, how relentless that guy was. Obviously, the next step for him is bringing all of that in, right? Even the guys, like, think of all the defensive linemen through the years that were like really high energy, work ethic, run you down, pedal to the metal guys, like guys like Reggie White. Let me think of another end who was like that. Nick Bosa, guys that just run nonstop. Even those guys played with, and Nick Bosa still does, they play with some control, some body control, right? The next thing Savion Jones is going to have to do is just refine his game. He obviously has all the talent in the world. So yeah, I'm on the Savion Jones hype train. I'm down. That's going to be the next step, though. And I think a new defensive line coach can do him some good. Yesterday was red beans and rice day. Shout out to my guy Mayo. Hold the Mayo. Jon Snow, my guy. I think I don't know the red beans and rice tradition in Louisiana on Mondays. I never knew about this. And I don't know if he was the one that started it. He's a friend of mine. I need to reach out. He does this really fun podcast called Hold the Mayo. I've got to know. I've got to know if he's the one that started the red beans and rice thing. Yeah, Jared, high motor guys. Ha, 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 ha. Savion Jones is one of those guys, though, right? Aaron? Aaron. The best in college football? Really? The best? Now, look, we're all LSU fans here, but a lot of you come because you like, a somewhat objective view of this team we love near and dear to my heart. And Aaron, what I would say about that is I can see it. They obviously have the potential, right? Are they the best, though? I don't know. I mean, obviously, Georgia loses, they lose Wyatt, Walker, and Jordan Davis. So that was their three best defensive linemen. They lost all of them. But they still do return Jalen Carter, and they still do return Nolan Smith. And they also got Bear Alexander and all these other 5-stars coming in. Then Alabama has Will Anderson, who is the best player in the SEC and the best player in college football. Now, can we get to that level? I think we can. But those two schools, now look, there are plenty of years where we had the best defensive line in college football. 2007 is one of those years, right? Jackson, Pittman, Dorsey, Ricky Jean, and Marlon Favorite, Al Woods. Then, 2003, we had one of the best defensive lines of all time. Dorsey, Lavallee, Hill, Spears. But I mean, look, it's not out of the question that LSU can have the best defensive line in college football. So I don't think this is a scolding take. It is a really hot one, though, to say we're going to be the best. Clemson with Breesy and Miles Murphy is pretty good. Even Tony is as big of an LSU fan there is on this planet. Even Jeremy Hill is a fan of Tony just because of his nickname. Even Tony's like, hold on. I'll say this. If I were drafting SEC defensive linemen, and I consider Will Anderson an edge defensive lineman, even though he's technically an outside linebacker or a chase on, I would say I would draft Anderson number 1, and I would draft Carter number 2, and then number 3 I would draft Mason Smith and Jaquan Roy. It's Gale time. Johnny, I thought Gale watched the channel with you. Master Blaster with the super chat. 48 years young, and you're like in way better shape than I am, and most of us. The Master Blaster. I don't have biceps. I used to have some decent biceps. I don't anymore. I don't go to the gym anymore. I still run. But everyone, for those watching on your phones, give me some birthday cake emojis for the Master Blaster. I should text Jay Hill to come on right now. Like, he's hype. He's going to be mad that, like, he missed the Tony B PHL extravaganza birthday. Tony, you're one of the PHL top 20 viewers. You've supported me so much, and I really do appreciate you, man. Can't wait to actually meet you. Hopefully you're going to the opener versus Florida State. I can't freaking wait. I can't wait for the Brian Kelly era to be started. Oh, man. James got your birthday cake. Aaron, let's do it. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat. We're getting a little dry there for a second. I appreciate you, Tony. I really do. Tony has one of my favorite Jeremy Hill autographs. He's also a member of the PHL T-shirt club. He's also a member of the Booger Band Club. And if you want to be a member of the Booger Band Club, all you got to do is follow the instructions. That's kind of cool. It focuses on my finger. All you got to do is follow the instructions. Is it going to focus on my finger? Let's see. See my finger right there? And here you go. What's really cool about the new camera is that you get the full HD view of the Booger Bands. Look at that. Look at that. So I had something really cool yesterday. You renewed your season ticket. Huh? Reed, what's good, man? Where have you been hiding? Guys, Reed has been cheating on me with other channels. I've got to say. I don't like it, Reed. I miss you getting in fights with me instead of other channels. I'm kidding, Reed. You do what you got to do, man. I understand. Freedom ain't free. 42, 36. Hey, Mark is the one who wanted to do the age check. What are you doing, Mark? Are you the feds? Is that what you're doing? I love it. 42, 36. I don't know yet, Nick. I don't. But, Nick, while you wait, you can get yourself a PHL shirt. You know you want it. I got a bunch of shirts in there. I'm ordered a bunch. I know you guys are going to buy them up. I'm already selling out of the 3XL. That's been the most popular one. And I had to order more when I already had some coming in. And that's what held everything up. Is there was such a high demand of 3XL shirts to the point where I was getting some not nasty emails, but people with the old t-shirt company I worked with, they're like, hey, they don't carry 3X. You need to get your act together. If not, I'm going to watch every other LSU YouTube channel except yours. We really just did an ASL, Bang Hammers. RD the mayonnaise kid. There we go. 27, a youngin'. I like it. Shh. I love it. I guess I'll say how old I am. I am 42. So there you go. Like Aaron. Jackson said, look, I came to this channel and I want to talk about Anthony Bradford. And I heard this is a place where I could talk Anthony Bradford. Because this is the diehard LSU football channel. Talk about Anthony Bradford. So we'll talk about Anthony Bradford. First thing, Jackson, is he on the team? So last year's season ended a little mysteriously, right? Like, was he injured? Was he not? I don't think he played again after the Ole Miss game, and they benched him that game. I thought it was a little unfair. I thought Max could have helped him out a little bit more, but he was having kind of a rough game. Now, it would be very nice to have him back. He's obviously very excited. There you go, Jared. Thank you, RD the mayonnaise kid. And he's the first one that caught my BS. I am not 42. I thought one of you would bring that up. Once again, Reed, everybody wants to know where Danny is, right? First thing, we have got, next time she's on our chat, we've got to tell her to change her avatar from the car accident, right? Like, that was, you guys saw during the live stream, that kind of messed us all up. And then Haley was like, oh my God, is she okay? And I'm glad she's okay. But yeah, obviously she's, I sent her a message earlier today seeing if she was going to be on live chat, because every time we do a live chat and Danny's not here, everyone's like, where's Danny? Someone tell me where Danny is. But then she did change it. Carter, I say I'm 36? Really? You think I'm 36? Huh? Ved says if you wanted to be 42, I was going to let you. Carter just had a birthday, and I think he is 54-ish. Thank you, Roger. How did you know? Did all this gray hair fool you? James, you're wrong on this as well. Believe it or not, I'm actually 25. Wit! Got his shirt today. Let's freaking go. Mick says, "This is the second time you brought this up. My wife hates your show, but she said your eyes are beautiful. Are they beautiful eyes?" Ha ha ha. Ahmad, where have you been? You know what happened, Ahmad, to you and Genesis? Did you guys ever link up? Genesis has not been here in a while. So, guys, I don't know if the 4K setup is going to be here forever. What happened was, this is how I had the 4K setup for today. So, my friend Mia Khalifa said, "Look, I'm taking a break from my busy schedule shooting movies, and I'll let you use the camera." So, you guys thank Mia Khalifa for loaning us this camera. Round of applause for Mia. She is a PHL. She is a PHL diehard. It's a cam, all right. It's a cam. I should show you what's on this hard drive. Oh man, I'll say this: do not Google Mia Khalifa. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. I don't know, Mark. That was so random. Okay, so for those that don't know, and it's crazy because we saw Ahmad Rashad for the first time in years this weekend during the NBA 75, right? So Ahmad Rashad's grandson watched only one live stream. He was a USC fan. And he just randomly said during the chat, and Mark, I don't even remember this all this well. But he said during the chat, "Hey, I'm Ahmad Rashad's grandson." And I grew up a big Jordan fan. If you were a big Jordan fan, you know how big Ahmad Rashad was for Michael Jordan and vice versa, right? Like Ahmad Rashad is like a dream guest. And obviously, he's a great football player too. He only played in the NFL, no big deal. So the dude, I was like, yeah, tell him Ahmad Rashad, even if it's 5 minutes, please, 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 just come hang out with us. But that was just kind of weird, though, right? I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. I feel bad because I know a lot of people Googled Mia Khalifa. I hope you didn't do that in front of. Jared said, I thought Wiz Khalifa was a guy. That is funny. I hope nobody Googled Mia Khalifa and got themselves in trouble. So, Tracy, let me know if Tommy jumps in the chat so I can wish him a very happy birthday. Put him a little extra birthday gift in there. Oh, listens in the background and goes, Rule of threes, baby. When you laugh, you got to give 3 good chuckles. Deshaun. You know what's funny? It's like, what is it? The crap, what's the star's name? Lisa Ann. Like Lisa Ann became one of the biggest fantasy football experts on Sirius XM, and she actually gives out really good fantasy football advice. It could jumpstart any type of career. Mark says, "Sell your laugh as a ringtone for the channel." Let me ask you this: Are ringtones still a thing? Are they still a thing? Like, how many? You remember when ringtones first came out? Like, how big of a deal it was? Like, and then for those that are my age, 42, I'm actually 33. I just turned 33. Anyway, if you were a freshman at LSU, everybody's ringtone was Soldier Boy up in this watching Superman watching you. So that was everybody's ringtone, right? I don't know if anyone has ringtones anymore. I think everybody is just like a phone vibration guy and gal. I think that's where we are right now as a society. But, but, my dad is like a big Migos fan, and his ringtones are always Migos songs. Raindrop, drop top, and like he never turns it off. So we could be at like a fancy setting and his phone rings, and you could be in the middle of a nice 5-star restaurant, and then next thing you know, and he has that thing on blast. Raindrop, drop top. Jared says, I had In the Club on my Nextel. I freaking love it. I had mine on my Nokia brick. I would play Snake in the background. But anyway. Phantom vibration syndrome. I don't know what that is, but it's something. Oh, I sent y'all shirt out today. So I wish it would have been there today for the birthday, but it's going to be worth the wait. I guarantee it. I threw some extra bonuses in for old Tommy. I didn't even know it was his birthday. And Master P's ice cream, ma. But anyway, back on to some LSU stuff. Old Vet with the super chat. You get to pick the next topic. Go right on ahead. Mark says my son is 22 and has some gray hair. There you go. By the way, if you are in Shreveport tomorrow, once again, burn rubber. I like that. I didn't know we had some Charlie Wilson fans in this thing. That's one of Haley's favorite artists. She's like a big Charlie Wilson fan. We got to see him live open for Bruno. That guy is so freaking good. Like, for real. Charlie Wilson's Gap Band, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm not a music buff. But guy, he was just incredible. I didn't switch up the poll question here. Ricky Jackson, the Saints, the Saints guy, Dome Patrol, really? Favorite old cell phones. Well, Jared did super chat. So I had a Nokia brick for like the first 10 years of cell phone usage, and that thing was old faithful. Then I went to a BlackBerry. Then I went to iPhone, and I have to admit, iPhone's the best phone. But the Nokia brick was just so perfect for my adolescence. I would play Snake for hours. Let's do this poll question right here. It's a good question here from Pegasus. Carter, if you could run, yeah, Big Al's a good question. I don't know anything about Andre Anthony at this point. If you could run any pro team, who would it be? It's a good question. Now, once again, it's kind of hard to not say the Steelers, right? Just because of their ownership and their stability, right? Uh, it seems like a dream job, and I'm not even a Steelers fan. It just seems like from franchise history to ownership, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot of funky business from upstairs. So you're going to get a lot of autonomy to do your job. So yes, I would definitely say the Steelers, just right off the top of my head, as far as NFL is concerned. As far as like European soccer, obviously, I'm a big Liverpool fan. They're my favorite professional team in any sport. So obviously, that would be a dream to work for a club like that. But putting that aside, I don't think I'd want to do a European soccer or just soccer in general. That's such a tough sport. I don't know if I'd want to do baseball either, Major League Baseball, because so much of it is sabermetrics and analytics now. And I like analytics. It's just baseball is all of it now. Um, so I'd probably say the Steelers. And then in the NBA, I know the easy answer is the Lakers, but I don't know if I would want to run the Lakers. I think the Raptors would be a pretty fun team to run with what Masai Ujiri has done for them. And I think who is he with now? He's not with the Raptors anymore. I think that would be a fun team. Obviously, the Pelicans are my favorite team. You would run Real Madrid? It's tough. It's tough. Oh man. Uh, I don't think I don't think the Cowboys would be anywhere close to that, right? Because you don't get to make your own decisions, right? If you're saying the Cowboys, that means you're not really running the team. Magic or Thunder, go work for Sam Presti. So yeah. Ferrari Formula One racing, that'd be interesting. Average Joe's from Dodgeball. Vet, thank you for the super chat. Okay, so you asked about the spring and then the fall. Obviously, the big thing is always going to be the quarterbacks. How are the quarterbacks looking? Ironically, quarterback's probably the position you can learn the least about during the spring. What am I looking forward to the most during spring ball? Well, the obvious one is no injuries. But the second thing, obviously, is who is going to separate themselves on the offensive line, right? You have a brand new slate of guys. Hines gone, Deculus gone, Ingram gone, Shanahan gone. And then, of course, the left tackle, which was going to be Dare Rosenthal, Cam Wire no longer around, I don't think Cam Wire's an offensive tackle. I think he's a guard. So, he can play tackle, but yeah. As far as the rest of the offensive line, it goes back to, just pretty simple concept. Who is your center going to be? I think that's just going to be so key because LSU has struggled not only at the position, but more so the depth of that position. So that's going to be the most important thing as far as that is concerned. Thank you so much. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, what are you going to get, out of running back, right? All right, Big Al, best of luck to you and the wifey. So, yeah, let's see here. Bradford, Shorts, Martinez, Deli, Frazier. I don't think Bradford's a tackle. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. I think you should feel pretty comfortable though about Miles Frazier starting at one of the tackles. But we'll see. What about Marcus Dumerville? Are we actually ever going to see him be the player that we expect him to be? That's going to be something pretty huge for me. Also, who's going to be the leader of that offensive line? Towards the end of the last year, Ettinger did a really good job leading that group. We'll see. We'll see. Prayers for Mrs. Big Al. I love it. I do think Delhi finds a way in the starting lineup. I think it could. Bradford was our best left tackle last year. I'm trying to think how much left tackle did he actually play? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the tape again. I would say so. Cam was just so hurt and just overall inconsistent. Had a really, really rough go at it versus Bama. Cam. So yeah, when Wires played against the better players, he's not looked the absolute best. Now, he also, played a good guard as well. So we'll see. Carver says our offensive line will be the most improved. Wire is your swing guy. I agree with that. I like him being the number 6 because he has a lot of experience at guard and tackle. And that was the issue with Dare Rosenthal leaving is Cam Wire is a really good 6, a guy who could come in off the bench, who's used to coming in off the bench and could play guard or tackle. The one thing I really like about Cam Wire is that he does have experience playing left tackle, right tackle, and very little right guard. That was an aggressive swing? Swing? What? That swing? Oh, swig. I think you meant swig. Yeah, Adrian McGee was a really good player. Really good player. Frazier, Dellinger, Shorts, Bradford, Wire. I could see this. I could easily see this. Not a bad group right here. I do think Delhi, with all the experience he had towards the end of the season, finds a way. Yeah, you hope Doomerville has that huge year 3, right? That's going to be obviously what we're all looking for going into next year. Cheryl, good to see you. But yeah, guys, we are approaching 2 hours. I do have an early morning, but I am actually staying up a little bit later because there are a few things I want to look at tonight. Do you think Will Campbell has any chance to get playing time? I think he does. But I also don't think he's Cam Robinson, right? Like a clear-cut guy that could play right now. And I don't think Brad Davis is going to see him the same way. Now, once again, Brad Davis knows way more about offensive line than I do. Just what I've seen from Will Campbell, I think he's going to be an all-SEC player at LSU. I just don't think it's a year 1 thing, right? But I go back to this all the time. Most guys are not year 1 ready. Most guys aren't physically ready to go in year 1. And I don't know if Will is. The one thing I really like though about Will Campbell is if you go look at all these camps, right? Will Campbell was always the first in line. He was always going up against the best pass rushers at these camps, and he never really backed down. And what's very interesting is if you actually go look at his 247 profile, there's like a scratch on the side of his neck. And I don't know if it happened at a camp, but I could easily see that's where that happened. Because you don't have pads. It could get very rough. A lot of those guys, defensive linemen, don't wear gloves during these camps, so it's like just barehanded nails are out there, and I could easily see him getting scraped. And the guy just never backed down, whether it be, David Hicks, who's a 5-star defensive lineman in the class of 2023, or Walter Nolan, who was, the number 2 player in 2022. Will Campbell, I don't think is year 1. I do think he can play. Yeah, the Texas A&M game's kind of tough though, right? You go from basically 3-star competition in Michigan to, playing in the SEC against A&M, who had the second best defensive line in the SEC West last year. That was a tough ask. I thought Jake and Brad could have done a better job helping him out in that game. And yeah, he just wasn't ready physically. But that just goes back to most guys just aren't ready to play SEC football in year 1. It's really freaking hard. It's really, really freaking hard. Yeah, Carver says huge. 3 years of eligibility. However, you hope he only needs 2, because if he only needs 2, that means he is a first-round pick, which would do wonders for our reputation on the offensive line. Do you think Max Johnson will start for Texas A&M? Really good question here. Obviously Haynes King is coming back. I think he's going to be the guy to beat there. I'm going to go with no. I kind of didn't understand the Texas A&M move for the Johnsons. I really didn't. The first thing is, Jake Johnson is a really talented receiving prospect, but A&M had a few other tight ends in the class, and it's not clear-cut that Max is going to get to play a lot at Texas A&M. Now, it helped out that he played one of his better games versus the Aggies, and that's a big reason why he is where he is now. But I'm not so sure about this. I think for me, Max Johnson was always going to be a year 3 guy. And look, you look at the base statistics, 27 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That looks really good, but that's why you need to look at things like QBR. That's why you need to look at the actual games as well. And if you are an LSU fan, you know this, but most of the general public doesn't know this. Max Johnson wasn't really that good last year. So my thing, if I'm a Texas A&M fan, do I even want Max Johnson to be my starting quarterback next year? And the answer to that is probably not. Hopefully, we'll see the light come on for Doomerville. Yeah, it's true, King Ulysses. So, as far as Marcus Doomerville is concerned, I thought it was very interesting. So, he played a lot last year as the 6th offensive lineman in heavy set. So, when you run heavy, that means you bring an extra offensive lineman into the game and form what's called an unbalanced line, where you have 3 offensive linemen to the right or left of the center. And that's when your line can become unbalanced. If, of course, there's not a tight end to the left of the formation. You can unbalance line with 5 offensive linemen too, but you see a lot of teams do this. You bring an extra offensive lineman for some extra blocking. And Marcus Newberville had a lot of decent snaps there. Obviously, there's been some inconsistency. You would have liked if him already have won a starter's job in year 2 based on all the hype that surrounded him. With the St. Thomas Aquinas, a high school that's produced a lot of NFL players, and hopefully, like you say, King Ulysses, you see a massive year 3. Allen believes in Will Campbell in year 1. I hope you're right. I do too. As far as giving you some snaps, I just don't want him to be the full-time starter in year 1. In a perfect world, though, you see you see Will Campbell pulling Andrew Whitworth. Poppy Cinco, who do you see winning a natty first, Jimbo with Texas A&M or Kelly with LSU? Once again, a really good question here. So the first thing is right now, Jimbo's in a better position when it comes to winning a national championship in the next 2 years, simply because of the recruiting classes that he's brought together. So, your chances of winning a national championship goes up when you aggregate a top 5 recruiting class. And obviously Texas A&M has done that these last couple of years, right? They were top 5 last year, and they had the highest recruiting class in the history of the 247 composite. So if you recruit in the top 5 nationally, you automatically have enough raw, talent to win a championship. My biggest issue, Poppy Cinco, though, is, and once again, this is going to come off as, sour LSU guy that doesn't believe in Texas A&M, but I've done a deep dive on this, and this was when, there were rumors surrounding Jimbo Fisher joining Scott Woodward in Baton Rouge. I was shocked to see how bad Jimbo's offenses have actually been. Now, some people would say it's because they don't have the quarterback that Jimbo wants just yet. But my issue with that, though, is, you don't see his offenses perform well on the road. And that to me is the biggest thing. And if you can't win on the road, you're obviously not going to go to a national championship game. And Jimbo's teams just performed so badly offensively on the road. I think if he gives up play calling, that's going to be the best case scenario for Texas A&M. And it could honestly just be anyone, but it's a really bad flaw that Jimbo Fisher has. Jimbo Fisher has, a lot of flaws. Tommy, I stayed here until you got home. I'm dead serious. To wish you a very happy early birthday. Thank you for your support. I didn't know it was your birthday coming up, but with your T-shirt order, I did throw in a little bonus just for you. There you go. Rick, we'll see you. Glad to see you are feeling better. Tommy's home. You guys, we have to wait and wish Tommy a happy birthday. So we have two pretty loyal PHLers celebrating some February birthdays here. Happy birthday to Tommy. Happy birthday to the Master Blaster. I could see this happening too, especially now with the SEC. Should we sing? Well, Pegasus, I would have sang for the Master Blaster, but since I didn't sing for the Master Blaster, I can't sing for just Tommy. Now I will sing Happy Birthday if someone drops a $100 super chat right now. But unless that happens, I'm probably not going to sing Happy Birthday. This is God's cruel joke. Daughter's boyfriend went from 5'6", 135 at 17 to 6'4", 250 at 19. What the heck was in his Wheaties? How did that happen? Alan says, hey, look, mine's was this month as well, but you never said anything, Alan. Oh, Tony's here. If we get a $100 super chat, I will sing Happy Birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yeah. I'll sing the full version. I got you, Carvis. Poppy Cinco says, well, in July, I'll be 20. Poppy, it's February. That's still a half a year away. No one cares about a July birthday in February. Will, what's going on, man? What have you been doing? One of our younger PHLers, along with Poppy. Good to see you, man. But yeah, what's going on with this, Poppy? If your birthday's not until July, why not wait until July? Why not wait until July and tell us your birthday? No one cares if your birthday is now. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. Do not want to get up early and go to Shreveport. That's why I'm hoping I could see one of you guys and gals. Dang, Nicole shares a birthday with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. By the way, if you're just joining us, don't forget Justin Vincent, Thursday night. Now, Will and Poppy, you might not know who this young man is right here. You guys were alive, or were you alive? I think both of you were alive when this man led us to a national championship. So there you go. Well, all right, guys, 5-minute warning here. Ask me anything, and I will happily oblige to answering to as many questions as I possibly can. Once again, if you super chat, we'll keep this party going. How about the New Orleans Breakers? I'm kind of excited about the USFL. I kind of am. Who did they draft that quarterback? I saw Shea Patterson go number 1. Carvis, we'll see you. Tree, ask your question again. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, Also, welcome to the channel, your boy Tree. Let me see, I can't find it here. Once again, it's harder for me to see questions if you don't have an avatar, because it just kind of blurs in. I get 1,000 comments coming in. Uh, Kyle Slaughter. Who is Kyle Slaughter? Northern Colorado. He played for the Vikings. See if he dominated in college. 6'4", 218. Southern Mississippi. Why does it say he played? Does he not have any passing stats? Did he never play quarterback in college? Crazy. Oh, at 854? All right, Caucus, we'll see you Thursday. Justin Vincent, don't forget it. For the Vikings and Broncos. Tree, if you can't just ask the question again, I'll happily answer before we get out of here. Also, welcome to the channel again. Everyone show Tree some love. Poppy Cinco, I'm not even going to sing her happy birthday in July. Carvis, have a good night. Vet, have a good night. Willie Beeman. Master Blaster. Gonna knock out. Good to see you, my friend. Good question here. As far as recruiting is concerned, if you're at the conference, why isn't Tackett Curtis not being recruited harder, and why hasn't Lance, the kid from Neville? So, for those that don't know, there was another offensive tackle for Neville who also plays defensive lineman, who's a top 200 player in the state of Louisiana. And his name is Lance. Really good player. Obviously, he's going to be on LSU's radar. As far as Tackett Curtis is concerned, I've heard different things. I know he's very interested in going to Ohio State. I know he's very interested and Georgia's been after him as well. But at the same time, as far as Tackett Curtis is concerned, he's obviously an incredible athlete. He is a headhunter. He tears people apart. He also plays a very interesting role that will not translate in the SEC, which is, he plays safety, and all he does is run downhill and D-head the running back. And it's really impressive. Like, don't get it twisted. It's really good high school strategy. Put your best athlete at safety and just have him run down whoever has the ball. You obviously can't do that at the college level. So, I see him as kind of kind of an edge player at the next level. He's a very interesting prospect, though, and obviously, you would like to see him go to LSU out of Manny, Louisiana. He's a North Louisiana guy as well, North-ish Louisiana guy. So, yeah, I like Tackett a lot. I hope he's a part of this class. He's a Louisiana top 100 guy, but a lot of schools have been out in front of this as well. I know Georgia is really, really wanting him, so we'll see. Thanks for your question, Tree. Good to I like an outside the box question such as this one. Who is my breakout player 2022? It's a good question. Hopefully it's Sage Ryan. I think that's going to be key. And obviously, hopefully it's Miles Brennan. Good to see you again, Ja. Something else about the Tackett Curtis thing is, Pegasus. I know it's obvious for all of us to see, okay, Tackett Curtis, we obviously need to recruit him, but Brian Kelly probably, once again, he is putting together a staff and he's having to do all these different things. It's tough to have like your full evaluation on a kid when you have all these different things going on at once, right? So, yeah, I think that's part of it as well. All right, guys, we hit the 2-hour mark. I hope this video thing, I don't know if we're going to continue having the nicer camera. It is a little bit more challenging to see your comments and then see this. Hopefully it looked okay. Type Y for yes. Not to stay on later. That was you? That was you. No, I didn't. No, I had no idea. I do remember this, Tree. I remember someone yelling at me, and there were so many freaking people around. Okay. And I didn't laugh at you. I did my normal thing because I'm not used to people stopping me and saying, "Hey, you're the dude on the YouTube, whatever." So I apologize. I remember it was a busy intersection of people going this way and that way and all that because we were right outside of the home gate. So we weren't on what's that? That's not the north side, not the west side. But still, it was very crowded. If not, I would have stopped and said, "Who called my name?" And I remember I was laughing. I was like, it's so unusual for that for me. So that was you. I've always wondered who that was because I hated that I couldn't stop because it was so busy. And I was honestly trying to meet up with Jared because Jared was going crazy. But yeah, next time we'll get together for a game. We are doing something on November 3rd before the Florida State game, right? So I guarantee you, I was kind of blown away by it. I was like, does someone really know who I am in like a crowd of people? So once again, I really do apologize, Tree. I really do. That was your birthday too. Now I feel really bad. I feel really bad. Huh? Oh man, that's crazy. I've always wondered that. Bye. Because what happened was a lot of you remember Marcus, right? So I was with Marcus and he kind of got lost and I had his ticket. So it was so crowded. I was worried. I'm not used to going to games either. I hadn't been to an LSU game. I didn't go in 2020. I didn't go to one as a fan in 2019. The ones I went to were as media members. So yeah, that was kind of that was strange. So yeah, Tree, I'm sorry about that. Shoot me an email, Tree, and powerhourlsu at gmail.com. Or if you're on Twitter or Instagram, Tree, at Card of the Power. I want to give you my a deeper apology, a little bit more formal, because I hate that. I love meeting viewers. I always say that. I love getting to meet you guys in person. What part of LA am I from? I am born in Baton Rouge, also claim New Roads, Louisiana. So there you go. But I love North Louisiana as well. That's why I'm going to Shreveport tomorrow. Now, we'll see you guys Thursday. Don't forget Justin Vincent on Thursday night right here on PHL. One of the great clutch LSU players of all time. Again, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, Part of the Power is the best place to go. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my Power Hour LSU newsletter. It's right there. Make sure you check it out. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. We'll see you Thursday night. And tonight we're having some lasagna. Let's go.